Okay, so we're talking about the introduction of technology in 1994 to conceal or camouflage the perfect contract killing. And that technology was developed in the United Kingdom. If I said, of course, maybe you'd think me being arrogant, but they've got all the basic technologies to do it and have done so since 1953, I believe, when the British National Physical Laboratory developed the first cesium fountain clock, which actually today controls global position time. And I believe now with a 1 second every 158 million years, you can locate a target to within 3 centimeters. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. Now, if you want to do a hit, let's say on Chick Burlingham, you need to know where he is very accurately. Not where he wants to be, but where he is and where he's going to die. Now, I think probably feel many people have believed that our point about spot fixing a crime is exaggerated, where you gamble on the time it takes when someone dies. Let me read this article, Daily Mail, of course, Hitler's rag, and this is about the use of Tor, the onion route of a contract killing. Quote, this makes me the perfect professional for taking care of your problems and makes me better than other hitmen. If you pay enough, I'll do anything to the desired victim. If I say anything, I mean anything. So the chilling thought there, Field, is the victim might include John Benny Ramsey or Maddie McCann, because these people are psychopaths and they like hurting children. I digress. Many of the sites even use slogans and marketing techniques that, if it weren't for their macabre subject matter, could be as at home on the website of a legitimate retail website. The best place to put your problems is in a grave, boast one. Some even seem to offer others the chance to profit from their killing by allowing users to bet on when a victim will die by putting money in a pool. The closest guess takes home the pool. The Clinton Foundation is a pool just set up for that purpose. Field, over to you.
I'm busy. You caught me. Yeah, the Clinton Foundation. Well, guess what? The Clinton Foundation is going to trial in January of 2016. But long before they go to trial, as you can clearly see from this thing, looks like a 60. George H. was talking about my cell phone. It's one of these Apple deals, and it's got this button, and then it's got a lot of other crap that I don't understand. But fortunately, Gloria, Bucky, and Kelly all understood my phone. So when I was in Texas last week with my high-tech phone as the chairman of the BORED, chairman of the board, BORED. But anyway, I'm now officially high-tech. And in addition to this thing, which I got, and I'll answer your question in a minute, David, I got this thing, and then I got another thing that's about twice as big. This is an Apple. The other one is something else. It's not an Apple, but I think it's called a tablet. But I know how to operate it, but I have no idea what it is. But that's okay. I know how to operate the ranch, and we're going to have brats from Wisconsin. We're going to have meat from North Dakota. We're going to have cheese from Wisconsin. We're going to have a open house with an opening time and a closing time. In other words, anybody that wants to come on July 4th to visit the ranch, you can expect that we will post the opening time, that the steel gate will open up, which, well, if Bucky knows it. In fact, I don't even know if Bucky's here. He's here a minute ago. Let's check. Bucky is not here. Let's see if Gloria's here. I doubt it. And I think I already checked for Sunshine, and I think they're all playing hooky. I think maybe they're tricking me. Maybe they're arranging for my murder. Maybe Clint Murchison is going to talk to, let's see, Governor Connolly and GHWB, and they're going to walk me into a trap in Texas. Well, guess what? I've walked into bigger traps than that. So I have no fear of these goons and the ghouls. David, the Clinton Foundation, both Bill and Hillary, they have a trial date set. The attorney who has caused the trial to occur. There's a little bit of murkiness whether it starts January 22 or 25, but I think the gentleman's name is Larry Klayman, and Larry Klayman can go ahead and sue the Clintons all he wants, but their transgressions as the Clinton Foundation do not scratch the surface of their evil. And that's where Ephesians 5:11 tells me to have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Some people would say reprove them. I didn't go to college, so I don't know what reprove means, but I know what expose them means. Take a great big 4D cell flashlight and with a very nice bulb, and you turn it on the cockroaches, and then you watch the people who killed Colonel James Sabow. And notice, in fact, watch this, David. I'm not chastising you, but you did not have a chance to read the entire radio show ad today. I know you didn't because I didn't get it done until after I called you. But just for the sake of straightforward and transparent communications, you didn't get a chance to look at the whole thing, did you?
No.
Of course not. Because I put the name James E. Underwood in. I put his address in Florida. I put his phone numbers. And if James E. Underwood doesn't like having his personal details revealed to the world, well, he should not have been a participant in what I am alleging is the gangland-style murder of Colonel James Sabow, United States Marine Corps, and the parties involved in the murder include the commandant. Here's where some people get nervous, but not me. The commandant of the Marine Corps at the time, an openly gay Al Gray. Sounds like something off Saturday Night Live. These guys really irritate me greatly. So you got James Edward Underwood. Sounds like underwear. I bet he's fouling his right now. So the 75-year-old dork named Underwood and this openly gay commandant named Al Gray and GHWB. Oh my goodness. Did I just say George Herbert Walker Bush in the same breath as the murderers of James Sabow? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. So stick it up your nose, you perverts. We're coming for you. And that means Al Gray, James Underwood, G.H.W. Bush, both Clintons, Christine Marcy, Maureen Baginski, and unbeknownst to you, David, I've started exposing a list, and it's a virtual floating matrix list, because as people contact me and finger anyone below them that needs to be above them, well, then the list gets it's sort of like a bad taco. If you had 3 bad tacos on top of a dozen oysters that are taken in any month with an R in them, any Swamper Mom, if she's here, can tell you, you don't eat oysters in a month that has an R. They'll give you an upset tummy. When we get to the ranch, if anybody, anytime, July 4th would be great. But anybody within the sound of my voice, know you were the only one. There was never a second choice, and I'll love you until I no longer have the will, if you're still within the sound of my voice. Well, Glenn Campbell's voice has been silenced, sadly, by Alzheimer's. Someday my voice is going to be silenced too. But guess what? The joke's on you because I got a hearse. David, have you seen a picture of my hearse? Come on.
I think so.
No, yes or no? What color is my hearse? That way we'll.
All right, no.
Yeah, good choice. There's no shame in saying you don't know. Watch this. Ask me a question I don't know about thermodynamics, David. Watch how quickly I say I don't know.
Do you know whether you do know or you don't know about knowing about thermodynamics?
I don't know. Over to you, David.
Okay, all right. I'm fascinated by this year 1994 because the United States Research Labs was developing what was called the Onion Router. Well, it's still called the Onion Router. It's now called the Silk Road. And the Silk Road is used to trade in child pornography and drugs and bitcoins and hit teams. And someone stole the technology out of the United States Navy, went into the Pentagon Ration Project, courtesy of a man by the name of John Bennett Ramsey, and he had to be removed. So they didn't remove him, they removed his daughter. He grieved and he was sent away, and they moved into the vacuum. So in order to do or get control of the onion router for contract killing, they needed to patent it and prevent the United States Navy from using it. And of course, they turned to the patent lawyer, Hillary Clinton, who's a sociopath, and will prove it. Incidentally, Phil, I don't know what that case is in January of next year, but I'm not ready to wait that long. I want that woman in the dock. And I do believe that Marine General Joseph Dunford is the man to do it, because I think we can teach him through your wonderful briefing. And whether it is ricocheting off your mound or otherwise, it's getting out on the internet, and he would be well advised to read exactly what is said on the Able Danger site in order for him to understand what he's up against.
Hey, David.
He's up against.
David,
go ahead.
You don't give me any credit for doing stuff. I don't ever do anything unless I know it's going to be effective. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time. It's like worrying about crap you can't control. It's a waste of your time. As far as General Joseph Dunford, United States Marine Corps, he was commissioned in 1977. I was commissioned in 1971. So even though normal military protocol may not agree, I think he understands what position I'm in relative to him. And I guess if Swamper Mama and Doreen and Denise K and Denise C are not offended at my direct manner of communicating, I've got his nuts in my hand. And if he does the wrong thing, I squeeze. Okay? Do you get it, David?
Yes, I do, Phil. And that is excellent. And you're in a unique position to do that. And so I value our connection, because I don't believe anyone else is capable of doing what you're doing.
It's not.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not trying to reprove you or rebuke you, but it's not me doing any of this. But for those who want to have a human to lay my half of this on, go ahead and lay it on me. I've got broad shoulders and I don't get tired. And one more thing, would Maranatha put up Isaiah 54:17, and would Ginger Cookie put up Psalm 91:11-15? And I'm going to say this as clearly as I can. G.H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Faggot Lindsay, I meant Lindsey Graham, Maureen Baginski, and Christine Marcy do not have the luxury of waiting till January of 2016. There goes a Harley Davidson just to hammer home my point, which reminds me, yes, I know exactly what happened in Waco, and no, it wasn't as reported. And yes, I was in Texas, and yes, I did talk to a member of the Banditos. And yes, it did rain a lot, and nobody asked for this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Every single person that was trying to get to the ranch was obstructed by Satan. Satan did not want us getting to the ranch. I had a credit card declined at Avis in Dallas. I almost turned around and went back to Minneapolis. Kelly Campbell, the female from Montana, lost her wallet, lost her cash, and she lost something else, but she found them in time to make her flight. Gloria and Bucky were going to travel on Delta, but they couldn't get on the airplanes. We knew that the day before, and we knew they couldn't travel the second day. So they hopped in a truck and drove, and he lost his credit card. And so someone had to provide him with cash so that he could go back. Orlando, who is the gentleman who's the president of our ranch enterprise, he's from Austin, Texas. He and his wife came to the ranch meeting, and their air conditioner went out in their vehicle, which is rather new and modern. Guess what? It only went out for the trip up. When they left the ranch, as they went through the gate, their air conditioner was restored. So, David, I got to go look at the chat room. And remember, we're leaving straight up on the hour, because I have to go to the airport again today to drop somebody off. And then when I am signaled that there's room for me down in Texas, I will be going down there with this. Would somebody, not somebody, oh, look at Driving Miss Crazy. That's wonderful. Hey, Mansamax, would you be willing to find on today's radio show ad, there's a picture of my silver limousine, actually hearse, and that is probably the finest one in the United States of America. And people say, well, how come you get all these good deals, Field? Well, why don't you, anybody that wants to know why I get good deals, just email me, FIELDMCC@yahoo.com, or call me, 715-307-8222, and I will tell you why these good things keep happening to me. And just in case you don't have minutes on your phone or you don't have a computer, um, it's because God's doing it. Pure and simple. End of story. David, over to you.
Okay, so in 1994, Serco agents began using North Face travel bags. North Face is a company that started this, making spec gear for hiking and mountaineering and tough climate movements of highly trained personnel, including military personnel. Travel bags containing cloth and communications gear for and other sports events and synchronized whistleblower contract hits. Now, was it Sebao killed in 1991, Phil?
Yeah, January of 91, I believe. Mensamax might put up the murder date, but I'm sure it was January, and I'm positive it was 1991. And James Sebao, the Marine, will not be worried about his legacy because we are going to not only provide justice to the deceased colonel, but we are going to lift his name up on high. And there is the thought that we will have a small chapel built in Texas, and the name of that chapel will include the name SABOW. Over to you, David.
Well, just to get a little continuity there, whilst the onion router technology was probably developed just prior to 1996, and it was notified that the Navy research labs had working systems by 1996, I think we need to go back to the foundation of that clock in the National Physical Laboratory clock in 1955, I believe, because essentially what British intelligence was doing, technology synchronized the 6 phases of the perfect hit. And I'm sure now, Phil, that these technologies were used in the assassination of JFK. And hats off to Craig. He suggested putting script in front of our 5 S's, which was spot, shoot, snuff, spin, spoil, because the actors need a script and you need actors good enough to improvise if events don't turn out exactly as planned. You know, like when the building numbers was announced as having come down by the BBC when it was still up. Now, the important thing is, let's say hypothetically you want to put a hit on JFK, you need the 6 teams in place. Script, spot, i.e. locating the man as to where he's going to be killed. Shoot, that's having the cameras pointing at him. That was a Zapruder camera. Snuff, that's the actual action that generates the money shot for the film. And spin and spoil, which is intended to lead the public away from the true perpetrators of the crime. And spoil is, of course, the removal of evidence and the placement of evidence. And the only technology needed to get them all working together is wireless communication and a super accurate clock. So the conspirators are operating at the communications of the good guys, let's say the law enforcement people in the military, and they always win, at least up now. Now they've started to lose. And a lot of people are being thrown under the bus, including some of the people at FIFA, the whatever that stands for, who have been spot fixing major sports events, just like Super Bowl as well, for decades, using this inaccurate clock to call into the bookmaker, the White's Club, which is Ladbrokes in London, so they can set up a spread betting scam and pay off the hit team with what is known as the vigorish for actually placing the event second. So I think you'll find, Phil, that they chose the second to bet on, where the Pentagon's US Navy Command Center was blown up, which I think from memory was shown as 1737-19 on September the 12th. Why September the 12th? Because Bill Clinton was in Australia and he'd forgotten to adjust the clock to remove evidence as one of the principal coordinators of the demolition of Wedge 1 of the Pentagon. Now, where was Hillary? Well, it could be that Hillary was in the basement of her Chappaqua house in Westchester County, New York, where an onion router server had been installed by Base 1 Technologies of New Rochelle, Westchester County, giving Hillary Clinton the status of or custodian of what's known as the evening. So Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were perfectly equipped to blow up the Pentagon's US Navy Command Center and eliminate the onion router node that represented a threat to the overarching conspiracy around the world to put together I think I've coined a nice acronym here, Field, White and Clinton killer team, or kill team. The WAC team. What do you think of that? Over to you.
I didn't hear the first name. I got Clinton. What was the other one?
White's Club.
Oh, well, once again, your brilliance sometimes confuses people because nobody gives a rat's ass about the Whites Club except for maybe people in England that know about it. In fact, we have a lot of people in England right now. Let's reach out to David Veach, Denise C. Let me see if the others are here, like Livery. Oh, we got a lady from Mexico, Alicia. That's not her real name, but we can go with that. Her real name starts with an M, like, let's see. Other people that are, Doug McNichol is from England. Emily Windsor should be from England, but unfortunately there was a little extramarital issue which turned her into a U.S. citizen with an English father. Gloria, welcome aboard. I didn't see you earlier. Liverish Peasant, are you here? Yes, she's here. Afterburner is not here. And what about VP? Let's see if VP's here. Nope, no VP. So we have a smattering of Brits, and I think the Brits will join me in saying nobody gives a rat's ass about White's Club, even though you're absolutely right, and we will destroy them. And as far as Iran goes, David B just picked up, just posted a picture of a goat, and we're looking for an angry ram. What we're talking about, David, is the type of livestock we're going to have at the Veterans Ranch. And there's already goats. We're going to have chickens and guineas. We may have some turkeys. We may have some peacocks. We will certainly have 8 horses. Why do I say 8? Because there's 8 very nice stalls. And we're hoping to have some horses there for the 4th of July event, even if we have to do a sleight of hand and borrow 8 horses. Notice I didn't say rustle them. Although Leon Russell did have a great song in 1976 called Masquerade about 2 people pretending like they were in love when they weren't. They were just trapped in a rotten marriage. That's Leon Russell, 1976, Masquerade. Watch how quickly someone posts that, and I see George Holdsworth had just put up the picture of this angry ram that likes to attack things. Guess what? On our ranch, there will be no attacking going on unless it's me and my pea shooter attacking something that won't behave, be it a bipod, a tripod, or an omnivore. David, over to you. And by the way, I got to leave in 28 minutes, David. So speak now or forever hold. I know they make a loud, dreadful noise. Peacocks make a dreadful noise. It sounds a lot like a woman groaning as opposed to moaning. It goes like this. And I know how to do guineas too. I also know how to do a goat call. Here's a goat call. Bah, bah! And if you don't think that goat call works, come to the ranch anytime in July after I get there late in June. David, over to you.
Yeah, okay, Phil. So White's Club was formed in 1693. It's the supposedly the most elite aristocratic club in London, certainly one of the oldest. It's been gambling, or its members have been gambling since 1693, losing and winning vast fortunes. And they've got to be very good at arranging the outcome of sports events, horse racing, cricket, football, American football, etc., and using the proceeds from these games to pay off the hit teams, which adjust the result. So, unfortunately for the United States of America, there was some heavy betting on 911 about various outcomes, including the pass-through certificates on the Twin Towers. So, I'm a Brit. I'm not going to underestimate what everyone else can ignore them if they will. But as far as I'm concerned, 3 alumni, well, 2 are still members. David Cameron's father was the chairman of White's, and David Cameron, who resigned in order to, how shall I put it, bleach his past, a bit like little Barry did, in order to bleach his past as a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, who had his background bleached by your sister and the National Theatre Centre. Cameron had to bleach his background in order to get into the position of Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And he is directly responsible, in my opinion, for ordering the death with Clinton of Gareth Williams. Gareth Williams happens to be a Cambridge University educated mathematician. I happen to be Cambridge educated. Whoopee-doo. It doesn't really matter whether we're Cambridge educated or not. We dug into something that is causing a great deal of stress, some of the most evil, sociopathic, genocidal humans on the planet. And they're going to be destroyed. Now, going back to White's, when they take out a contract on a sports event to adjust the result so they can make money with sports betting, they're always on the lookout, and they have the best private intelligence network in the world. Actually, its proper name is MI6. They're always on the lookout for people who might represent a threat to that monopoly. Essentially, it's a monopoly for the transmission of precise timing signals or network timing protocol around the world. And poor Gareth Williams hacked into that monopoly. So they wanted a death or a snuff film that could be transmitted to Gareth Williams's colleagues at the GCHQ and MI6 and his contact in the National Security Agency, which may very well have included at one time Maureen Baginski, to send a message via the onion router showing this man being killed. I imagine he was folded into that bag and raped. Now, why would I figure that? Why would these vermin get involved in anal rape of men and boys, for that matter? Well, feel into Christopher Stevens in Libya.
Are you still there, David?
Have I lost you, Phil?
No, if you ever lose me, I'll let you know. Okay, so if you don't hear me, that doesn't mean Jack Diddley. But Afterburner just checked in. If you're familiar with where Brighton is, there's Piers, there's the Metropole Hotel, there's the Lanes, there's the it starts with P. There's a summer palace that they call something. Maybe I don't know what it's called. Somebody from England will, hey, look at that. There's something from England's right now. It's White
Pavilion.
Yeah, the Pavilion. Is that the summer residence for the Royals?
No, it used to be for Prince of Wales.
Oh, who was the Prince of Wales?
Well, that was the guy who became Edward the Seventh, I think.
Did you know I'm 1/4 Welsh?
I can imagine.
No, but I am. Did you know that? Yes or no?
No.
Who cares what you imagine? But this is a factual show. We're opening a ranch, not we, Abel Danger, but the same power that's kept Abel Danger alive and kicking. Of course, everybody remembers back in 1970, Alive and Kicking had a song called Tighter. Hold on just a little bit tighter now, baby. Mensa Max, would you tell me if I'm right or wrong? Did Alive and Kickin' do the song Tighter? David, and I'll turn it over to you so you can do very important stuff for the next 22 minutes while I think of old music and pastel colors.
Okay, so I just put an image up in the chat room, and there's a gesture there with David Cameron holding up his two hands, measuring the space between them. I don't know what that corresponds to.
I do.
Go ahead.
That corresponds to Michelle LaVaughn Robinson's thigh gap, THIGHGAP. But there's a couple of accoutrements that might not be anticipated. So before anybody dives into that thigh gap, you better make sure that there's not a twig and berries hidden in there, because otherwise it would be a rude surprise. And as far as these guys liking to violate males after they're dead, even heterosexuals can try to use, I'm not going to say the word, it has three letters and ends with EX. They can try to use that for dominance as opposed to sharing, and they try to project their power on persons of the other gender. That goes both ways. There's females that try to manipulate that word ending in EX for power, and there's males that do it, and in both cases they're wrong. It's really not a very lovely world we live in, and that's why I'm willing to stick my head on the block. Of course, I know they can't get me because of Isaiah 54:17 and Psalm 91:11 to 15. There's no weapon that could be raised against me that will prosper, and anybody who criticizes me legally, as in libel, they're going to get rebuked. And we're all going to see that because I wrote a very public letter to the IRS and I sent it to the IRS commissioner at the headquarters. And it's not my fault the headquarters is in Puerto Rico, so they're going to look like a bunch of complete inept dipshits. David, over to you.
Yes, I put another image which is pretty gruesome, and I apologize for that, but there it is. If we ignore these images, we don't understand the mens rea behind them. When the United States Ambassador Christopher Stevens was raped and tortured and cattle prodded and burned to death for 7 hours while Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton ignored his pleas for help, I can assure you, Phil, they didn't ignore his pleas. They were watching. They were watching a snuff film.
Yeah, I know.
And it was backhauled. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I know. We've covered that before. They were watching snuff films, and Barry Boy was upstairs in the presidential boning chambers, and he was having his way with Reggie Love. And if anybody doesn't believe me, all you have to do is Google Benghazi Obama Chorizo, Chorizo, Reggie Love and cornhole. You know what? I do know the root cause of all this, and here it comes. Since the United States of America became a powerful and progressive colony, the people that think they built it with their money and their ideas, which reminds me, they can think whatever they want. But anyway, these people in England think that we're their colony. Well, we sort of are right now, but those days are soon to be over. And recently in the UK, they had an election, and of their three main parties, all three main party leaders stepped down. I don't know if they're the Reds, the Greens, the Blues, the IUDs, the IUTs, and the BFDs. Any name doesn't matter. I had a heated conversation yesterday with some dipshit my age, and I kept telling him the truth, and he kept saying, well, ideas like yours could get you in trouble. I said, listen, it's not an idea, it's a fact, and I'm not getting in trouble, and I'm not getting scared. And all we have to do at this point is sit around and twiddle our thumbs and sing Camptown Racetrack 5 miles long, doo-dar, doo-dar. Camptown Racetrack 5 miles long, oh, doo-dar day. All we have to do is sing Camptown races. If I had a ball and jack, one of those paddles with a little ball and a string, we could do that. We could play 3 stanzas of dueling banjos. This game is over. Our sponsor wins, the bad guys lose. How many of them are losing? Well, just yesterday and Sunday in Rome, I think it was Rome, wherever the Lake Vatican is, that jerk with a hairdo named Kazar Kelly or Kazar, let me think, Kerry. Yeah, he fell off a bike and broke his femur. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? Clinton's found out recently that they're going to be in court in January of 2016 if they make it that long. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? I saw that Joe Biden's son needed to be removed. Why? Well, gee, I don't know. If I were smart like Swamper Mama or Mensa, I'd probably think it had to do with a change in the dynamic with Ukrainian oil. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Anyway, Ukrainian oil and Bo Biden, that's really should be a disconnect. And I don't know if Putin did it. I don't know if somebody else did it. I don't know if the CIA did it. You don't know if I did it. Somebody took him out of the equation, which frees up a whole lot of oil for somebody other than Bo Biden. What kind of a guy names his son Bo? I don't know, probably a pervert. David, over to you.
Yeah, so Phil, going back to White's Club, so they created MI6 in I think, the turn of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. And the job of MI6 was to ensure that the competition in the opium trade for its principal sponsor, HSBC, was eliminated. And they were very successful at it, so much so that HSBC today still controls the international drug trade and uses the onion router to move the drugs covertly and to pay the hit teams or the contract killing teams for anyone who threatens to expose the use of the onion router in the drug trade, and perhaps more importantly, because it's got a very rapid means of generating free cash to pay the hit team, spot fixing at major sports events. So nothing is what it seems in this world. When they expose FIFA, of course, they can throw the FIFA people under the bus, maybe get them in jail, but I tell you what, it'll be a 2 to 3 year court case with very little prospects of permanently resolving the issue, because it doesn't address the technology, the spot fixing. My estimate, Field, is that there's now 1 million paramilitaries, ex-cons or vets in the Five Eyes countries that have been equipped with these North Face sports or travel bags modified for mobile onion router communications. And those travel bags are big enough to carry a man or a child. I'm rather confident that one of these North Face travel bags, and it doesn't have to be North Face, of course, carried Maddie McCann from Portugal, probably to a place in the Middle East. I would guess either Qatar or Dubai, where she would have been placed in some sheikh's palace to be abused and to serve as fodder for the blackmail team on the onion router. Because you can imagine that no matter how powerful or prestigious the individual doing the abuse of little Maddie McCann is, his reputation and his expectation of life would be significantly foreshortened if those images were put out on the internet. So the secret of these images, of course, is not to put them out, unless you really have to. If you want to quieten, let's say, a troublesome or troubled conscience, maybe a banker whose conscience is troubled and may wish to speak about the role of White's Club in the 911 attack and needs to be silenced. And one way of silencing them, I believe, is to make it look like a suicide. But I believe there was a banker who fired 9 devices from a nail gun into his head, which really is rather clumsy if you want to simulate a suicide. So the onion router is key, and the remedy, of course, is blindingly simple. You decapitate the beast by sending in the Marines. And all the Marines need to do is to take custody of the National Physical Laboratory clock, send in the
Hey, David, you hear that?
Yep.
What do you think that is?
Sounds like a whistle.
It's my new ringtone on my Apple whatever. And Ginger Cookie was supposed to call me, but deep within my heart is a melody, a song of old San Antone. So many of you people might think that Sherry T, notice for the record, I didn't say Talbert from San Antonio, who lived at Hickam Air Force Base, married to a Air Force person, I believe. Uh, but anyway, that wasn't Sherry Talbert calling, and it was not Agent Grapevine. That call came from somewhere down in the Lone Star State. And if I had to put a highway number on the location that that call came from, I'd say if you look southeast of Dallas, somewhere within 30 miles of I-45, you might find where that call came from. So thank you. And I know who called, but I'm not sharing it with you guys because you don't have a need to know. So, David, we have about 12 minutes left. Pardon me, but people in the chat room, and David, if you look in the chat room, you'll see that I said, no, it's not an i6 Plus, it's just an i6. That was a question about my new high-tech phone, and the call that's an obnoxious call. And the people that did that to me, let's see, what day was it? It was Friday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday? I can't remember. I think it was Saturday. I really can't remember what day I left there. What day is the day? Monday? No, I left there Saturday, so it was Friday. I went to would somebody put up First Monday Trade Days in Canton, Texas? It's the biggest flea market in the world. I drove a red Pontiac to the flea market, and in one seat was Kelly Campbell, and in one other seat was Gloria Presley. And one of those two ladies had great fun getting the most obnoxious tones they could have installed into my phone because I was busy driving and I didn't have a free hand to answer all the calls that come in when you're the soon to retire global operations director because you're going to become the chairman of the BORED. Now, just because I said soon to retire, keep in mind that David's favorite song is "The Show Must Go On," so the show will go on. David, over to you.
Yeah, okay, Phil. So I'm looking at the people who occupied this position of Director of Special Forces. Now, these are very tough, hard men. I don't think any woman has been in there. And I would basically put you up against Director of Special Forces simply because, and I believe the outcome is ordained, you will win because you have better intelligence than they do. These would be very brave, capable people, but they're being fed a line. So Director of Special Forces is a senior role within the British Ministry of Defence and the professional head of the United Kingdom Special Forces. As director, the incumbent is responsible for the provision of Special Forces capability to MOD commands, the UK Special Forces Group, and holds operational command for discrete Special Forces operations. The DSF has since 2008 held the rank of Major General, previously a Brigadier, reflecting the increased size of the Directorate. The position has evolved from Colonel SAS, Special Air Service, in 1964, to Director SAS in 1969, and to Director Special Forces in 1988. Now, wittingly or unwittingly, I would say the following people are responsible for the following acts. And the name Director Special Forces came in 1988 to 1989. So let's take a look. 1993 to 1996, Brigadier Cedric Delves, late Devonshire and Dorset Regiment, I believe, would have been responsible for organising the demolition of the Murrah building. 1996-1999, Brigadier John Sutherall, the late Royal Anglian Regiment, would have been responsible for bombing the USS Cole. That's 2000. The bombing of the United States East African embassies. 1999-2001, Brigadier John Holmes, late Scots Guards. He would have been in charge of the attack on the Cole in Aden Harbour. Again, always using this onion router technology and paramilitary teams to take care of script, snuff, shoot, spin, spoil. Now, I don't know when Brigadier John Holmes stepped down. I've got him in 2001, and I don't know where Brigadier Graham Lamb stepped up in 2001. But either Holmes or Lamb together would have been responsible for the demolition of the Twin Towers and the attack on the Pentagon's US Navy Command Center. So Graham Lamb is late Queen's Own Highlanders. 2003 to 2006, Brigadier Jonathan Shaw, late Parachute Regiment, would have been responsible for the murder of Pat Tillman and the attack on the London Underground system. Interestingly, I feel the Parachute Regiment between 2003 and 2006 would have been equipped with the SA-80 rifle. And why do you think? I know you know, but could we just point out why the SA-80 would have been a good tool to whack someone? Over to you.
Well, it worked pretty good on Pat Tillman because it put 3 rounds in a quarter-sized target area. I'm putting a target, yeah, that's about a quarter, not a Canadian quarter, a U.S. quarter. But anyway, he had 3 holes of 223 rounds, 223 is the caliber. And on this end of his head, he had 3 little entry holes. On the back of his head, there was nothing left because it all got blown away. And we're going to blow away some people. Oh, let's see, some people like Barry Swatero, the Clinton Party of 2. And if Mensa Max has any extra energy, he can go to today's radio show ad and capture the image of Hillary and Bill Clinton. And if people did not see them in a bathing suit, I mean, they're each in their own bathing suits. Hopefully they wouldn't be interested in what's in the other person's bathing suit. One being a Foxtrot Tango and the other one being a Papa Delta. The first word is Peyronie's. Anyway, take a look, do a comparative analysis of the thigh mass. In other words, take a look at Hillary's thighs compared to Bill Clinton's thighs. And then if you really are invasive of other people's privacy, you'll see that the top of her bathing suit is rather lackluster. David, over to you.
Yeah, Field. So 2009 to 2012, Major General Jacko Page, late Parachute Regiment, would have been responsible for the attack on Extortion 17 and ensuring via the Onion router that would have been recorded in a snuff film. And evidence for that attack, and it was ambushed, would have been removed by these people carrying the Onion router mobile communications device. 2012, 2014 is Major General Mark Carlton Smith, late Irish Guards. And as I said, I think when you or I or anyone in the chat room met these people, they would be struck by a certain cold and focused hardness under stress. But they need to realize that these people are obliged to obey commands as they come through the command structure. Just as in the United States, whether you're a 4-star admiral or a 4-star general, when you're told by what you believe to be a legitimate source over the National Command Authority to do something, you do it. Otherwise, it's a mutiny. Unfortunately for Americans, they don't recognize that the National Command Authority, which operates the Red Switch network, of course in the custody of Serco, has been bypassed by the Onion router. So every military maneuver in the United States of America and overseas is being monitored by British intelligence, and every attempt to stifle, thwart, or cut back on ISIS is doomed to fail because the ISIS hit teams are equipped with the British Onion router technology and are able to communicate within the command authority or the chains of command of the Americans and their allies in northern Iraq and Syria. So a lot of people are dying. No time is to be wasted, but I think we're at the heart of the beast, and I'm ready to sign off at 11:30, Field. Over to you.
11:30. Right now, it's where you are. It's 12.
Oh, yes, correction. My mistake.
Of course, that's why I'm here, is to correct everyone, including G.H.W. Bush, naughty, naughty, shouldn't have killed Sabow. James Edward Underwood, naughty, naughty, shouldn't have killed Sabow. The Clintons, naughty, naughty, shouldn't have imported drugs through Mena, Arkansas, and El Toro. So, David, I'm going to ask Metzamax to put up the big red button. And since we only did a little bit over a little bit over an hour today, why don't we do a little bit longer show on Wednesday? Or if something comes up tomorrow, we could do one tomorrow. But let's plan on Wednesday, and let's plan on as long as you can stand it, not to exceed 2 hours.
Yeah, that's good for me, Phil.
Okay, well, Max or one of the ladies, would somebody put up a big green button, a big red button, and once I get a button of either color, green or red, and I get the protocol 3, 2, 1, push it, or any derivative of push it, gouge my eyeballs out with a pitchfork. That's from Jake Art, and he lives a little bit north and west of Kansas City, I believe. And it's always been his dream to drive a vehicle from Plum City or Kansas City. There's the big red button. I'm watching for the protocol. And when the protocol comes, I will remain silent. David, if you have anything at all to say it quickly because we could be shut down here any moment.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll say goodbye, but I'm going to put a picture of